Good afternoon, everybody. Dr. John Michael Salvato here, and you're watching Inner Alchemy, the Science of Spiritual Living. With me today is my co-host on the program, Reverend Robert Brzezinski, and Katrina and Jen are with us as well. And today, of all the topics that would be on the curriculum, I should have probably looked ahead to see and juggled around this huge topic that we're going to share today. Is understanding and really coming to greater terms with the ideas and reflections that manifest in our lives. And it's one of my favorite topics and something that I've done, both a 4 or 6 week course on, as well as a year-long course. And it had to come up the day after I said that we're going to start to be brief on these programs. But I did say as a disclaimer, I did say that Fridays would be a little bit longer. So we're going to really strive to keep this at about 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, if depending on how the discussion goes, because I think it's such an important topic. And so one of the ways we can help facilitate this process of being more brief, so that we're spending more of our day doing the productive things, applying these principles, is to spend some time reading the blog. And so on the blog today, I talk about the definitions of reflections and life in general. And there's a fantastic quote that I just have to share with you guys from the Science of Mind. And I don't have the blog post in front of me because I'm upstairs, so I only have one monitor. But I think it's page 81. It's either 81 or 181. And Dr. Holmes says, life is the mirror of both king and slave. And if you really think about that, there's power, there's brevity there for you in one of the most powerful statements that you could imagine. That life reflects both the thoughts of the king and the slave, or the king and the subject. And like I said, I think it's for those of you that follow the Science of Mind. In the text, it's around page 81. And the idea that we're going to talk about today is this idea. We've talked about the law of equivalent exchange. We've talked about how in order to receive, you've got to give something of equal or greater value. But similar to that, and another aspect of that same universal principle is this law of reflection. And the idea is one that I think for me probably was one of the first times that the light bulb really went off in my study of New Thought. Because the idea behind this is that there are really two realms. If you imagine, if you will, a circle, or you can draw this on a piece of paper, and we could talk a little bit about this today. But you imagine a circle, and you divide the circle in half. And on one side, you have the realm of thought. That's what Dr. Holmes calls the world of our individuality. I like to see it as the place where I dance with the world of cause and effect, where I'm the creator, where I get to be the expression of the beloved in the world. And then on the other side of that circle is the world of effect. So, if you think of it in terms of this diagram, on the left side, on the world of cause, our thought, that's where our beliefs come in. And on the other side of belief is the corresponding representation. It's where we plant the seeds for our future, and on the other side is where it's the seed itself. On the left, it's the plant that grows, or the flower, if you will, on the other side. It's where the concepts that we have, like limited belief or scarcity, manifest as poverty or wealth. It's where our thought is of acceptance and openness to the abundance that exists all around us, manifests as opportunity. And we could go on and on with those examples, but the idea behind it is that that in Buddhism we talk about when we say that that the phenomenal world, or that the world that's all around us, is an illusion. And why is that? Well, it's an illusion because it's just the outpicturing. It's just the manifestation of our thoughts. And so if you entertain a thought, if you hold a belief on the subconscious level, that is going to always manifest in your experience. That's why we talk about it being so important for you and I to take 100% responsibility for the life, excuse me, the life that we experience. And then recognizing that the world that you're experiencing right now is an illusion. It's never been anything else other than a reflection or an outpicturing of those thoughts you entertain. So if you want to change what you're experiencing, simply change the thoughts you're having about that experience. If you don't like something that's showing up in your life, chances are pretty good that it's showing up in your life as an opportunity for you to let go of a limiting belief, to let go of something you haven't forgiven in yourself, to let go of something you haven't forgiven or let go of in others. And when we finally let go, when we finally forgive, when we finally bring ourselves to a place of addressing or clearing those limiting beliefs, then everything in our lives begin to change. And that certainly happened for me last week. And that's why, don't think that there's ever a place, I think, in life when these lessons they no longer show up. You're not going to reach a place where you've learned it all and where the lessons are done, and now you can just sit back and kind of breeze through life. Because last week I made the statement on this program that I was going to open myself, I was going to make a bold proclamation and challenge you to do the same thing, to open myself to opportunities in the most unexpected of places. And within 24 hours, I got that telephone call from a friend of ours that opened the door to a remarkable opportunity for me to train and teach and coach a group of people that I never would have imagined myself coaching in a situation, excuse me, in a circumstance that I never could have imagined. It's too awesome. And then as that began to unfold, it turned out that connected to that opportunity is a chance sometime in the next year for Craig and I to move to the place where I said, one day we're going to live in this particular location. It's going to be where we put our vacation home, because I couldn't even begin to conceive back when we first talked about it, about living there year round. And now it looks like that's going to be where we call home. And have a remarkable lifestyle, living on the largest island in Florida, on the Gulf, with surrounded by mangroves and all of these tropical plants. It's beautiful. And for me, it's always been kind of like my escape to place, like my little secret place that I go. And now it looks like it's going to be our home. So that's that's what happens. And I want to challenge you guys. I want to get some feedback from you guys too on how your thoughts and beliefs are manifesting in your life right now. What are the ideas that you have, the notions, the beliefs, the subconscious baggage that's manifesting in your world, and what are the good things that are happening? Because if this is a law, and then this is what I'm going to leave you with today, is if this is a universal law, that as we think, so we experience, or what we think we manifest in our world, then it means that you have the right to manifest those good things. You have the right to manifest abundance, to manifest good health, to say, I'm going to speak my word into the law, and the law is going to respond and return to me abundantly multiplied, because that's how the law works. And it's your birthright to claim those things for yourself. And a lot of times we feel like somebody has to give us permission to receive. And my big challenge for you today is to understand this principle, to read that blog article, really get your arms around it, and ask as many questions as it takes for you to get to the place where you don't need permission from anyone else to experience and express the life you were meant to express. So Robert, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to pick up from there, because I know this is a topic that's special and loved by both of us, because it's one of those door openers for folks on the journey. So jump in and share your reflections, and then we'll open it up to anybody else who wants to share.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I love what you share, because life really does come back down to this law of cause and effect as well. So the law of reflection is directly tied to that law of cause and effect. What I think about, I bring about. There's all the great people, mystics have said this in different ways. Holmes said it as change your thinking, change your life. And when I first heard that, oh, okay, right. And then I realized there is this space between the thought and the actual demonstration or the actual manifestation. And so I dug in. Well, what is that? Why is there that thought? Why can't I just instantly manifest what I want in my life? And the gap is actually our acceptance of a belief. So I want to share a quick story. And I may have shared this on this program before, and if I have, for those that have heard it, forgive me, and for those that haven't, I think you'll enjoy it. Not long ago, maybe a month ago, I was out on my mountain bike, and I was on a ride that I had been attempting. This was actually my third attempt to complete this 12-mile ride. The first couple of times, the first time I had no idea where I was or where I was going, so I had no mental equivalent of how long it would take or what the ride would be, and I turned back a little short of halfway. The second time I did the ride, I went out with a friend, and he had been a bit farther than I had ever been, but it's a newer ride, and we weren't sure that it connected back to where we wanted to go. We made it a little farther than I had the first time, but still decided it was turn back and go home. About a week later, he calls me. He says, I finished that ride. It's great. You're going to love the backside. It's fast. It's flowing. It's just a perfect ride. So I went out and I did it. Now, I got onto that backside of the mountain, and I'm moving at a pretty good clip. And at some point, my brain says, this is why you keep joking. Well, actually, my brain started with, man, you're hauling. And the inner dialogue was, this is why you keep joking to your kids that they need to buy you some body armor for Christmas. Now, I've been in this long enough to know that I just should have hit the brakes, stopped, pulled over, had a snack, something, but I didn't, and I kept going. And that thought of, this is why you joke your kids should get you some armor, turned to the thought of, well, come on, dummy, you have knee pads and you left them in your car. And it was about that time that I came around a corner, a little bit of an obstacle, a foot falls off a pedal, and the next thing I know, I'm flying through the air and scraping my knee. Now, it wasn't a really bad fall, and it wasn't a really dramatic fall, but it scraped up my knee, just enough to remind me of the power of my own thoughts. That's instant manifestation. Now, that seems like a, oh my gosh type of moment, when actually I was laughing, because it was a great reminder of how incredibly powerful our thoughts are when we consistently stay in the process of trusting those thoughts. I didn't go to fear in that experience. Now, we've all heard different acronyms for fear: false evidence appearing real, F it and run, F everything and run. Right. I have one that I like a little bit different. What if fear is simply forgetting to empower absolute reality? And so anytime anything comes up in our lives that's a little around fear, my job then becomes, okay, wait a minute, this can't be the truth of my life. What is the truth? What is the absolute reality that I'm not empowering? Well, in that case, the absolute reality is that I am safe and secure and everything's working out perfectly, even if I do fall. In my business, that fear needs to transmute itself, I think, is a calling for us to transmute, to remember the absolute reality. We are abundant beings. Everything necessary for the complete fulfillment of your mission on this planet comes to you as it is necessary. That's another long belief. That's a belief it took me a long time to develop. But now that I developed that and I can stand in that truth, then things show up. Another great one is I love to remind myself that God has not brought me this far to leave me swinging in the wind. So no matter what it might look like in front of me, to remind myself there is this ultimate power. And we each get to use that power at any point in time in our lives. At every moment, we are actually using that power. And so are we using that power to create the experiences and the conditions and the events and the relationships that we want, that we really desire? Or are we using that power to create a reflection of what we don't want? I'm not going to go too deep into this, but right now we're seeing a great experience of that play out on the American stage, at least. If I'm not sure if there's anyone here internationally, but we're seeing this play out in how many people's fears are being manifested right before their eyes. Well, no matter which side you're on. And I'm not here to promote one candidate or another, because in my opinion, they both have strengths and they both have weaknesses. I know where I personally land, but that's not the point. The point is, what are you putting out into the world that by the very law of nature must reflect back and must come back to you? See, it has to work for everyone equally. Think of it as gravity. Gravity works for me just as much as it works for you. And if it worked for me differently than it worked for you, the whole system would break down. Nothing would be accomplished. So I look at this power of thought in that same exact way. Life is an ever-evolving journey, and we're always becoming more and more of our authentic selves, or we're becoming more and more of our inauthentic self. The limitations, the lack, the disbelief, the fear, the hurt, the harm. Somewhere along the line, I chose to let go of all those things and stand more in my truth. So when Dr. John Michael says that we have the right to manifest our good, our abundance, our prosperity, I want to take that one more step forward and challenge you and say, you actually have the responsibility to manifest an abundant life. You have the responsibility to go out there and open the doors of unlimited financial flow. You have the ability to respond to the conditions of your day, to the conditions of your life, especially the ones you don't like. You have the responsibility to respond to those conditions by using the power of your own mind, by using the power of your own thoughts to create the life you truly desire. And what I love about Fridays, and I think we're both doing a great job of modeling our brevity today, Dr. John Michael. Normally you take about 15, I take about 15, and then we give everybody else about 15. I'm looking at my clock. We're not quite 20 minutes into our program today, and I'm ready to open this up, and I'm ready to let others be a part of this, because the truth is, it doesn't matter what I think. What matters is what you think. And if you think that you're in a prosperous situation, if you believe that things are working out for your good and that you're moving in a direction of prosperity and abundance, then that has to manifest. And if you think you're being conned, and if you think that you're not good enough, well, then the law says yes to that too. So I'm here to say, let's get on board with being happy. Let's get on board with being prosperous. And what I know is we're creating a team that cares, and I love being a part of it. So how about you guys? Who wants to jump in here? What's been sparked for someone else in the room today?
Hi. I'm going to see if I have enough light here for the camera. I'm in a kind of a dark room. Not really, so.
That's good enough. No, you can leave it on.
Okay. So, well, first of all, I just want to state that I open myself to unexpected financial abundance and a beautiful housing solution, because that is the piece that that I'm working on manifesting and allowing to show up. And sooner would be a whole lot better than later, especially the housing solution part. So But I do appreciate, the tone of today's message and just the reinforcement to be just to be really mindful. What thoughts are running through my mind today, and how am I responding to the aspects of what's around me that is not in alignment with the vision that I have for what I want to have be the ambiance of my daily life. And that includes the quality of consciousness of the people I'm around. And presently, I'm in a household where there's a great deal of mind chatter and negativity, a tendency toward negativity. And that's certainly not the climate I want to, be immersing myself in daily. I want to be with our community and people that reflect the values that we're all sharing. And it's coming. And I have more and more of it. I feel kind of like I am straddling the old world and the new one, my old world and my new one, which is very cool, actually. Uncomfortable, but cool. And the fact that I'm uncomfortable is a good sign. May not be pleasant, but at all times, but it's a good sign. It's a sign that things are changing. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for our community here, and just for the touchstone that it is for me to be able to come here and go, oh yeah, okay, I'm on track, even though yesterday and last night I totally lost sight of it. I'm still on track. So thanks everybody for being here.
Well, thank you for being here. And I would also really encourage you to think. Anytime somebody tells me they're straddling two worlds, and that tells me that they're on the verge of a breakthrough. But the question to ask then is what is it that you have to let go on that side that you don't want to be in? So as you're straddling the two worlds, find the thing that's waiting for you to let it go. There's something there that's just saying, all you got to do is let me go, and that breakthrough's yours. And you don't have to straddle. We weren't meant to straddle fences. That's why there's stuff in the middle of our anatomy there, I think, to remind us that that's not a comfortable place to be, like you said. And so allow yourself. You've allowed yourself to be with that uncomfortableness. So now a part of you already knows it's time to let go, and just kind of explore that. Find out what it is that's waiting for you to let it go, and do it. Dive in there.
Sure. Well, I think also it's speaking to what Robert shared, is that I do have the vision of what's coming, and I do have that sense of what I'm moving toward, and so that's what I mean by I'm still in the manifestation that is less than what I want it to be, but I definitely feel I'm now in the momentum of moving toward
right on.
Where I want to get to.
Right on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's beautiful, Katrina. Keep on keeping on. Beautiful.
How about somebody else?
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Hi.
How are you?
Not
How are
too
things in
bad.
Ireland?
Cold.
Are they?
It's freezing over here. Yeah, we're sort of getting a touch of frost now. I'm loving today's mind shift. And particularly what sort of stood out to me was, as Robert brought out, is the responsibility that we have to manifest these things in our life, because in essence we can study and listen to the mind shifts, but if we don't actually apply them in our lives, we can sit there and go, oh sure, I'm just easygoing and relaxed, which is a bit like me. I just sort of sit there and go, oh yeah, I'll do that, but you never get round to it. So when Robert actually said we have a responsibility, I was like, what? Responsibility? Responsibility? And it jumped out at me when he said that because mind shifts, we do have the responsibility, because we're learning. there's so many people out there that actually are not learning what we're learning here in our peak performance group. So we should be manifesting this. We should be letting people know what is out there, that it's not just the mundane life that they have. They can reach for higher goals, and that they can see achieve a better life by by studying the mind shifts that we have and applying them in our lives. So that really jumped out at me today. So I'm going to watch this again as well, because I was a few minutes late, and I do apologize for that. But yeah, it's brilliant.
Thank you. I'm glad that you're finding that, and I really appreciate the feedback, because so many times, while it's awesome to hear from you guys every day, there are a group of people who watch these programs that don't show up live because they're working or whatever, and when they hear from you that, hey, it's important that we take action on the things that we're hearing. You have no idea just how powerful that could be, how that could be the the light bulb that goes on for somebody who may not be here, maybe because they're working, not because they're not available, but they might just not be here because they're not fully on board with what we talk about here yet. And when they hear from you guys, they hear from your experience, they hear from what those aha moments are for you. That could just be the thing that turns the light switch on for them. And so, Ita, I thank you, and I thank everybody for being so generous with your sharing your thoughts, because that's what makes all this really have the substance, the value that we bring to the marketplace. Jen, let's hear from you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So yesterday I wrote a blog and on IBO, actually. I did a press release thing. And it was so weird because I've had these words stuck in my head. Power words. What are your power words? And I must have stayed up writing this blog in my head. You know how you do that? You get all these great ideas and it's awesome. And then I sat down to write it, and all I could think of was how for 3 years I have wished for my son to just go to daddy. And because it was happening, he was curled up with my husband taking a nap. And I'd wished for that for 3 years. And it was happening, and I had a little bit of sadness. And that inspired this blog of how often are we like that in our business? We sit and we wish for success, we hope for success, we just want somebody to sign up, and when they do, it's like, oh my God, it's happened. Now what do I do? Yeah, and it's, what are these words that we're saying to ourselves? These are the words that are shaping our reality, our world, and also how others are seeing us. I can be honest, as a kid, high school, college, I'm the outsider, nobody likes me, I guess I'll go eat worms, that kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, I still have that persona for a lot of kids that are still living in the same neighborhood because, God forbid you move more than a mile away from mom and dad. So yeah, I mean, it was just very odd to sit and see this manifestation of 3 years of hoping, wishing, praying, good Lord, child, please sleep more than 3 hours a night. That kind of thing. And it's like, oh, it's actually happening. And now I just kind of want to snuggle him. Damn. But it really is important to monitor the words that you've got in your head, your power words. And, we all say, the most powerful words are I am. Because whether you're using that in a good sense, I am strong, I am powerful, I am successful, or I am fat, I am lazy, I am broke. Either way, you're listening and you're manifesting those words and those emotions. And you really, you can't always judge, be the thought police. You'd go exhausted. You have 100,000 thoughts a day. If you have anxiety, you double that. Yeah, but you have to judge by your feelings and your emotions. Those are going to be what tells you what you're manifesting at that time. If you've got the good things going on in your head, you're going to feel that light, bright, happy, excited, bubbly type thing. And when you start looking at your stomach and realize that you can't see your toes anymore, then yeah, you're going to sit there and go, oh, this is not good. And right then you just got to go, okay, well then let me put the soda away, let me get the lemon water, and where's the Wii Fit? So yeah, that's what I got.
Right on. And you're absolutely right. Where your attention goes, your experience follows. And that's why those words that we speak, this isn't just a metaphysical, and I don't like to even use the word that's not just a metaphysical principle, because I'm not diminishing the importance of the metaphysical side of our lives, but it's also a biological principle. It's a scientific principle that covers both our physiology, because the prefrontal cortex of the brain is that part of our brain which is the great manifester, and begins to create the causes and conditions. Whatever we speak, the prefrontal cortex accepts as true. And then on the spiritual level, that connection that I think one day we'll understand between the prefrontal cortex and the metaphysical, the physical and metaphysical, is where that word we hear in some of the ancient texts, that in the beginning was the word. I think that the metaphor there is one of the few that can be taken literally, because in the beginning is our word. And so, having said that, I want to thank you guys for what you shared today, and so understanding that as we speak, so we manifest. We're going to speak today. We're going to speak directly to the prefrontal cortex of our brain, to the metaphysical ether, to whatever it is that we understand this principle as activating. And so we're going to say, as we close your eyes if you're comfortable, keep your eyes open if you're not, just sort of bring yourself back to this moment, and know that there's one presence, one source, one life, one intelligence and substance of which I'm a part and you're a part. And that substance is perfect, and it's whole and complete. It's harmonious and the source of all things in us, through us, and all around us. There's nothing separate from this source, and we may call that source God or Spirit. We may call that source the Goddess, or Kali, or Shiva, or Yahweh, or anything that works for you. As Robert has often said, you can call it George if that's what works for you. But just know that nothing can ever separate you from that source. There's nothing that can limit the action of that source in your life and my life and the lives of everyone around us. It always knows what to do. It always knows how to get it done. And it's the limitless source of every good thing in our lives. So let's know that there is one life, and that life is source. That life is spirit. And there's nothing in me that will ever take that away from me or take that away from you. And so the word that I speak, the declaration that I make is the word of God, the word of the Goddess, the word of Spirit, of creative intelligence going forth through me into a new tangible creation that's manifesting right now, right here in my life. This word that I speak is for me. It's about me. It is the truth of me. And there's nothing in my word, nothing in the mind of anyone else that can deny it, that can deprive me of it, that can limit my experience of this idea. It's the action and fulfillment of my thought. And it can't be delayed. It can't be deferred the moment that I let go of all limiting beliefs. And so right now, I speak that I let go of those thoughts, those ideas, those beliefs that no longer serve me, that I allow my mind to be drawn to those things that I want in my life, that I know I deserve in my life, and that I pick up this banner of responsibility for creating a better world with joy, with ease, and with peace. And I know that every good idea that I have carries within it the knowledge, the ways, and the means for its fulfillment. And so I speak this word to the source of law. I speak this word into the law itself, that this law will return to me abundantly multiplied, I accept these words of power, these words of good, these words of unspeakable and unimaginable blessing that comes back to me. And for this knowledge and understanding, I'm grateful. And I give thanks that it's so. And I know that in this acceptance, that the manifestation has already begun. And so it is.
And so it is.
All right, guys, I want to thank you. Robert, anything you want to wrap up with, as we've kept this under, we're at an hour and 35, or no, we're at 35 minutes, an hour. It just seemed like it was going to be impossible to get this through, but we have, guys. And read the blog. Anything you want to wrap up with, Robert, and take us out?
My new favorite phrase: go forth and prosper.
Go forth and prosper. And so it is. Thank you, everybody. Namaste. I love you, and we'll see you guys on Monday.
Peace and blessings, all.